How much do you like streaming?
Hey guys, welcome to Financial Literacy. We're going to get started here in maybe a minute. I'm going to wait. I got on a little bit early. What we're going to do today is kind of look at kind of like some aspects of some of you that might be looking for jobs, kind of like skills or maybe opportunities that maybe you haven't thought about. We're going to look a little bit about when you do get a paycheck, what everything means. A lot of us just look at how much money we make, but there's other aspects to it too. Okay, let's go ahead and get started here. Okay. So one thing I want to look at, you guys, is kind of the first thing. Some of you might be looking about switching careers. Some of you might have a job, which is great, but if you're thinking about changing jobs, you want to look at the first thing is look at things you're interested in, your abilities and your career goals, because all of us are good at certain things. Second thing, you want to evaluate the current employment market. So you want to look at what type of jobs are maybe available in Rochester. You can do that, on any different, like Indeed, or even like the city of Rochester's website, Monroe County's website. And then you can look at, specific job opportunities that you want to do. And then basically what you do, and most of you know this, you apply for a job by sending kind of a resume application letter. Then you'll interview. And the last thing you do, once a lot of us, when we get in our positions, we have to continue to get training that helps us, become better at our job. Okay. So one thing I want to look at next is, I don't know if you ever thought about this, but most of us have had interviews, and I just want to talk about kind of before you have an interview, kind of what you want to do. You probably want to know a little bit about the company you're applying with. So maybe just do a search about, like if some of you are going to apply here at ABC, you might want to do a little research on what, ABC does. You want to practice your interviewing skills. That can be done having someone ask you some questions. You always want to go in if you have specific questions about the job. You maybe want to write those down, bring a notebook. 4 and 5, you want to make sure you're, dressed appropriately for the interview. And it's always good to show up a little bit early. Okay. You don't want to be late to a job interview. So you want to give yourself some extra time. Like if your interview is at 11 o'clock, maybe you want to get there at 10:40, 10:45, a little bit early. You always want to give yourself some extra time in case something happens. Like during the interview, I know sometimes it's hard, but you want to be relaxed. That's why, you practice the interview before you go in. You have maybe a family member or friend ask you some questions. You want to come off as calm when you answer the questions. You always want to ask questions to the interviewer or the company that's interviewing you. And the last thing you want to do before you leave, you just want to ask when you might hear from the interview. Couple things you want to do after the interview that I think are helpful. You want to kind of do a little bit of a review. You guys, can you hold on one sec? Hey, you guys. Hey, Lydia and Melody. I'm doing class, and I think they can probably hear you more than they hear me. I'm sorry. It's okay. You guys, when you're done, you always want to kind of review how your interview went. Not every interview is perfect. Once you've done them a couple times, you'll kind of get a feel for, what you can improve on next time. Because, I guess we'll be lucky if you only have one job your entire life. A lot of us, have different jobs. So, you'll go through, probably, who knows, 6 or 7 interviews in your life. And the last thing you want to do is, it's always nice to send a thank you letter to the person that interviewed you to express your appreciation, opportunity with me with them. That can just be a simple formula, just thanking them for the time to interview you. That really goes a long way sometimes. It shows that you're a thoughtful person. And sometimes, if you and someone else interview for a job and your interviews went exactly the same and you guys send a thank you letter, that might be the tipping point that gets you the job. Okay. These are just things to think about. And these are just some common questions that people ask you at interviews. It's like, what activities help you expand your interest, abilities, and knowledge? What type of situations have you done your best work? I work better individually. I work better in a group. It asks number 3, describe the supervisor who motivated you the most. You just want to talk about in your past experience, or it can be, if you're just out of college or high school, maybe a teacher or someone that motivates you. It could be a family member, but if you don't have basically work experience, you could adapt that to someone, someone that's actually motivated you. 4, describe someone you've had difficult working with. Work is not always, we don't necessarily always get along with all our coworkers. So just wants you to talk about someone maybe that you didn't have a good working relationship with. And the important thing is to be honest. If you didn't get along with someone in your last job, it's not going to preclude you from getting this job. But I think a lot of that is, it just shows that we're human. As humans, we don't always get along with everyone. So I think it's important to talk about if you've had a disagreement with a coworker, explain why. And, obviously there's probably 2 sides of stories. There's always something, that maybe you did that someone else did. So I think just be as honest as you can with that. The 5 talks about what are your major strengths. You want to talk about what makes you a good employee. 6, what are your weaknesses? Not all of us are perfect. It could be something as simple. Sometimes, I don't reply to my emails right away, or, sometimes I have a hard time, asking the right questions, things like that. Then they're going to ask what they know about the organization. That's why I think it was important to do a little research about the company that's interviewing you. And number 8 is, who is someone you admire and why do you admire that person? And that could be anyone. That could be a former supervisor. It could be a coworker. Could be a teacher. Could be a parent. Could be someone in your church. They're just asking you, who do you admire and why? And obviously that's going to give them some insight into, what motivates you and, some of your personal strengths. Okay. The next one would be, okay, so this is, I want to go to, this talks about when we look at a paycheck here, and I want to basically get to kind of a typical paycheck here. Let me see if I can pull that down here. Okay, so this would be a typical paycheck. You can see this person, obviously this is made up, works for Hamburger Palace Enterprises. His name's James Brown. Payroll ended on the 14th. So it looks like he worked 20 hours this week. He made $120. And out of that $120, $1,272, we pay federal income tax every month. We pay Social Security. We pay Medicare. We pay state income tax. And also it looks like they deducted $7 for meals. Okay, so even though he made 120, he only brings home $87.50, because that means that $32.50 went to taxes, Social Security, Medicaid, state income tax, and his meals. Okay, let's look at this one down below here. Another one here. And this one's probably, obviously that's saying this person probably makes $6 an hour. So you can see how old this is. This one person works at the Banana Bread Box. Peter Smith. He worked for 46 hours. Okay, so we got 6 hours overtime. Usually when you work overtime, you get time and a half. So he made $194 this pay period, but 35 went to federal income tax, 18 went to Social Security, 426 went to Medicare, $8 went to state income tax. He's got a retirement plan, so he takes $30 a month from his paycheck and puts it into a retirement fund, and then he pays $15 a month, it looks like, for health insurance. So those would be considered benefits. And those are things you don't have to do. You certainly don't have to opt into the 401k or the health, you know. So it looks like he made 194, and then they subtract all this stuff here. Okay, so it's not like you basically make all your money, because we have to pay taxes basically every single pay period. Here's another one too. This person, Mary, works at Dancerama. She makes $448 every 2 weeks. You can see the pay period up here is from 7/1 to 7/15, so that's 2 weeks. So out of that 448, 49.95 goes to federal income tax, 27 goes to Social Security, 650 goes to Medicare, and 1450 goes to state income tax. These are things every month we really can't opt out of, because you're going to pay state income tax, federal income tax, Social Security, and Medicare every single month. So we really don't have a choice. But on this one up here, this person did decide to contribute a little bit to their 401k and their health one. Okay. So that's typically what a paycheck would look like. A lot of you guys have probably seen these. Some of you have jobs, you know this. This is just kind of a little bit of a review. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint here. So, and this gets a little more in depth here. Same thing. This person, 80 hours, that's $10 an hour. When they work overtime, it's time and a half, it's 15. So this, for this, looks like 11-day pay period, they made $875. But they took 102 out in federal income tax, 54 in Social Security, 269 in Medicare, and 26.25 in state. And then they put $35 into their 401k. But what I want to look at is this. This is kind of the federal, basically, income tax guidelines. So if you're single and you make less than $9,525, you're going to, about 10% of your paycheck is going to go to taxes. So that'd be about $900. In this case, if you make 95 to 38 and you're single, about 12% will go to taxes. And if you're married and you file taxes with your spouse or partner, and you make between 19 and 77, you're going to pay 12% of taxes. You can see up here in our country, and this was 2019, I think this is about to be changed. If you make more than $500,000, you can see about a third of your income would go to taxes. So this just gives you an idea of how much you can expect to go to taxes once you get a new job, you know. So most of us are probably going to be in these kind of these middle ones here. If we make between 9 and 38, 38 and 82, 82 and 157, that means about a quarter of your money, if you're making between 82,000 and 157, go to taxes. And if you're making between, you know, it says 38 and 82, about 20%. So about a fifth of yours will go to taxes. And the next one is like if you're married. So this is just what they talk about when they talk about tax brackets. You know, this kind of gives you an idea what tax bracket most of our country is in. So this is, it says the tax range from 0 to 10%. depending on the state in which you live. So most state income taxes are between 0 and 10%. And you saw that one paycheck where it has 401ks. The government doesn't tax that. So if you're putting like $30 a month into your retirement fund, that's going to be $30 tax free. So the whole $30 goes basically into your retirement fund. And one last term I want you guys to be familiar with is net pay. That's what you make after all those things are taken out. So if we go back to this one right here, his net pay was $644, but you can see he made $875 in this pay period, but he about $230 went to like taxes and his 401k. So net pay is really what you take home. Okay. And the good thing, sometimes, when you guys, if you file taxes, you can take more money home, or you can have the government take out the biggest amount, and then a lot of times you'll get some of that back. Sometimes it's better to have, it's just up to you. Sometimes it's better to have the government take it out, because the worst thing is working all year and not having any taxes taken out. Then you get a bill from the IRS saying you owe a couple $1,000s. So, but that's really a personal choice. And if you get, offered a job, you can certainly talk to Human Resources about kind of how you want to kind of do your taxes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and post a worksheet. I'll put it in Google Classroom. You guys can look at it. Let me see if I can pull that up and I'll show you. So this just talks about asking you guys, some of you, it says, what topics did you enjoy in school? What skills do you do well? What are your interests away from school or work? Describe a situation that helped you organize the work of others. Describe a situation you worked to achieve a goal. These are just basically things that kind of employer might ask you, and I want you to think about. And here are like 2 careers or jobs. I mean, some of you already have one, that's fine. If some of you are thinking about switching your careers, you can put it here. And I just want you to research, basically, like if you're thinking about becoming a nurse, let's say, what do you need to become a nurse? If you're thinking about becoming an accountant, what do you basically need to do? If you're thinking about starting your own business, you might have to research a little bit. What type of licenses do I need to start my own business? And then this one just asks you to look at these paychecks down here and kind of do what we just did here. It just wants you to interpret pay stubs, just so you know kind of where your money's going once you get a job. Some of you might be just review. And at the very end, there's just a little bit of a quiz of some of the stuff we covered. All right, you guys, that's it for today. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see all you guys soon. Bye.